Early exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Let's talk about the good news trending in Nigeria, the Alawi thing. When it comes to the issue of money, it brings excitement. Core members are in a good mood now. So if you know any core member, wherever they are, they're in a good mood now. Maybe it's time for them to be your friends, because they are any more now. The federal government has has grabbed headline with with this news of increasing their allowance, what is popularly known as Alawi, from 33,000 naira to 77,000 naira, in compliance with the provision of the new Minimum Wage Act for core members to improve their welfare. And we're being joined, it's a conversation, it's a family kind of conversation by Praise, who's also joining us in this conversation. Is a young person who is also concerned about this. You've been following this report, in the news.
Yeah,
And,
I have.
how do you feel with this kind of report?
I feel good. I feel good
Because
because
it's money.
yeah,
Money brings excitement.
and it came in a very short notice. We've been expecting it, but all of a sudden we just woke up one morning and we just saw the news flash, boom, and everybody's excited.
It seems to me that this thing has been an age-long thing. I remember when we were, engaging in our youth service too, we're having that impression too that one way or the other, the allowance is going to be increased. So it seems to me that feeling comes from one generation to the other.
I think there's always been clamor for increase
Increasing.
in core members' allowance, and it happens from time to time. From when it was paid 9,000 plus, the one that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got,
yeah.
So
Sam got 150. That's interesting.
that's I think that's consolation for you.
Oh my.
So
What's
when
it
it was
about?
increased to 19,800, and then from 19,800 it was increased to I think 33,000, and now we're seeing 77,000 there. Well, like she said, a short notice. So I guess you must have been praying with economic realities like 33,000 there. This is not going to take me to my bus stop, let alone to my house. So now that it's been increased more than twice, that's more than a double increment from 33,000 to 77,000 naira. And the implementation is even backdated. So it counts from July to September and then moving forward. To the economic realities, for you as a core member, do you see that as sufficient to take on the cost of core members? Do you see the Alawi as this is good? This is good.
You have to take a deep breath.
Yeah, I have to, because the truth is,
Okay.
okay.
I think we need to get some some pen and paper here and calculator and begin to itemize your expenses for the
sign
month.
is telling more of the story rather than the words.
Do you think it covers the expenditure of an average core member and is enough to see them through month after month?
Okay. It can only be enough if a core member has support in the sense that you have external support. Maybe you stay within your family, within or with your parents. You have family support, you have spouse support, you have support from the firm you're working in, transportation support and all
Maybe
of
some
that.
stipend.
Yes,
Your place of primary
now
science.
77,000 with whatever backlog or whatever. The backlog is not so much, just 2 months, July and August. Yeah. So 77,000 for someone who is feeding him or herself, paying his or her house rent, clothing his or herself. We have many youth.
Why must you buy clothes? We're giving you 7 over 7. The Ajuwaya attire. Why must you buy clothes?
Many core members.
That's a joke, by the way.
No, I needed to be sure you were serious. As if we're going to wear the Ajawaya 24/7.
Jackets there.
Even the
That's
Ajawaya
the thing.
uniform is going to get tired and worn out. Except to have to, and we don't have them in pairs. We just have one. You get. So for a core member who is feeding, clothing, using, transporting him or herself to work, paying house rent, because sometimes your firm does not give you
Any stipend.
stipend or accommodation. I don't think it's enough.
Well, the reality is, even if the allowance increased to 500,000 naira,
True.
I don't think
True.
it will be enough as well.
True.
If you look at the economic realities, the standard of living, especially when you live in cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, where the cost of living is not smiling, it's not a joke. You also need to compare the fact that these are individuals who are also trying to make things out of life. But for the federal government, I think it's a starting point. That's why they call it minimum wage, because it's just a benchmark. For you as an employer, you can decide, okay, after paying my core members 77,000 naira, okay, there are other allowances that I could choose to pay them. It's the
Wait, are
discretion
you
of.
hoping?
I'm just
Are you
saying it.
hoping that firms will actually
No,
still pay
apart
core
from
members 77,000 naira in addition to what
giving
the
my
federal
own
government is
experience
paying?
when I had my youth service,
Okay.
apart from getting allowance from the federal government, we were also getting allowance from the state.
They do pay.
Then even
and
from the
most
employers
firms
as
do
well.
pay.
So by the time you combine all this, it's also adding to the value. But I think the federal government is trying to make a statement, send a signal that yes, we are aware of what they are going through at this period, the sensitivity of a time like this. And they are trying to set that pace that, okay, apart from what we've done globally for civil servants or public servants, benchmarking the minimum wage at 70,000, let's extend it to core members who will call the federal government Peking now, they are
Federal
the
government
parents.
last born.
So the federal government is the parent now. They want to take care of their kids, the core members who are serving across 36 states in Nigeria. And they feel, okay, let's extend it to them. They don't need to be graduate or employed before they start enjoying this benefit. And I think it's the starting point. It's a good one. However, it's also important for other stakeholders to see how they can also imbibe this to improve the welfare of core members. Because if you break the 70,000 naira, for some people within 2 weeks or a week is gone. Especially if you're talking about a lady like the person seated close to me here now, the cost is more. For guys, you're talking about khaki, maybe for a guy can choose to wear khaki
Every day.
every day.
For the 1 year.
But for a lady, they will ask a question.
This particular hair I'm wearing is worth 45/50,000.
You're a big spender. Why would you see? Why can't you go African? Cut your hair for 1 year.
If I don't want to cut my
African
hair,
queen.
no. See, I want to live a life in as much as I want to see life like having it in abundance. That's why we encourage, or the federal government encourage core members, even minus federal government, parents, the firms will work, as siblings, people encourage us to have a skill, to have an additional income.
I was going to get to that part. Good, you got there before me. I know that right in camp, there are different skills the core members are being taught. They have the opportunity of learning skills because the NYSC scheme encourages entrepreneurial development. So from the many skills that you had opportunity, or core members like yourself had opportunity of learning, is this a good time to put them to use? When they ask questions like, what can 50,000 naira do for you? What kind of business can 50,000 naira start for you? Perhaps you're the right person to answer that question right now.
Okay. So 50,000 naira will do a lot. 50,000 naira, first of all, you don't even need a shop as a core member. Hopefully, you will definitely get somewhere to sleep, because you cannot sleep in under the bridge.
There is the NYSC Lodge, which many local governments should have. I'm saying should have.
Yes.
Because I do not know if at this time some local governments still maintain that, but ordinarily there should be a lodge that every local government have for core members.
Okay, let us assume that there's no provisions for this lodge, because most of the time it's always dilapidated and, out of consistent use of core members. So, and people who just came out from school, I'm young, I'm Gen Z, they just want to go get something out there for themselves, So I would say, make your house your shop. get your business, put it in digital space. These days, most people do not even have a physical shop any longer. The online space is your new shop. So 50,000 naira can actually start. It may not do a lot, but it can start. I've heard of people who started with 10,000. I've heard of people who didn't even start with anything.
What kind of business specifically? Could you give some examples?
Okay.
Maybe from some of the
some
skills
things I did.
required
Okay.
during camp.
Okay. Well, I didn't get any skill during camp, but because I already had a skill. In fact, during Said, I was already a caterer before I got into
So you
school.
were a resource person.
Yes, I
while
was
in
a
camp.
resource person
Okay.
while in camp. So I joined the Said tutor to teach the people because I felt like I
Good
don't
for you.
I know these things you get. So I was just like an extra hand, and that was a plan when I was in school. Yeah, because I wanted to go to NYSC and face other things. I was in the OBS crew, so I wanted to go to camp and enjoy my media life while I do other things. So that was a plan. So we encourage everybody to have a plan. We encourage everybody to see the vision before they do some certain things. Because the truth is, even if Nigeria was so good,
The economy.
yes, the economy, sorry to say, was perfect and all. There's no, even America doesn't have a perfect economy. There's still some lapses and all. They cannot give you everything. You need to find something for yourself.
Okay, but I'm still waiting for you to tell me,
Okay.
as well as just watching one or two businesses. You already have a skill that you teach people that they can get into it. The Alawida, they're being paid.
Okay, so I sell jewelries. I'm also into the beauty business. So I sell jewelries. So when you get to, there's a popular market at Trade Fair. They call it GL. You get jewelries.
You haven't paid us.
Yeah.
You could tell us about the jewelry.
But I think the sense she's trying to make is we're at a time where you can't depend on one source of income. Let's even expand it beyond the issues that has to do with core members.
Yeah.
As someone who in the 21st or 21st century, it is expected that you have what we call multiple streams of income. Because if you are a public servant, whatever level you have, it's also expected that that little that you have, you expand it, you put it into other things, which is the point she's trying to make. She's into this and that to see what she can do to have the multiplier effect. And you also must resist this temptation. And this goes to all core members wherever they are watching. There's always this tendency when your salary is increased or your allowance is increased, there's always this temptation to say,
your desires
to spend more.
increasing.
It's at that time you get to supermarket and certain things are staring at you.
Impulse
Come
buying.
and buy me, come and buy me. Things you felt. Some will say, okay, my village people has been on my case for long. Now that I've made it, it's time for me to show people that I'm this.
You made it in 77
So I think it's also important, which is implied to what she's saying, that it's a point at the time for core members to also manage what they have. Now, the concept of that's why they call it alawi is not supposed to be
It's not salary, it's just an allowance.
just like stipend, to
Yes.
motivate them. Like you talked about the couples lodge and all that. In the past, we used to have that. So it means ideally as a core member serving, you are not expected to pay for rent. So if you have a lodge provided for you, either by the local government or the state government or by an employer or whoever, is responsible for your stay for that 1 year, it is expected. For instance, I stayed in the family house during my time, so I didn't pay rent, and I know core members understand what I'm
I'm
talking
also not paying rent.
So the impact of that is that means you can.
Congratulations for the non-renting.
So the beauty of that is with your alawi, you can focus on other things. But my appeal to core members is don't be tempted to say, okay, now you're earning
You're a big
77,000.
girl, you're a big boy.
Yeah,
Leave the town,
you also
pay
need to
rent.
say, you realize that there was something that happened during that time. A lot of people didn't realize that they've made some mistakes until a month to the end of the service year.
Out of
And reality-
1 year.
They couldn't
Renting
save.
hits them. Like,
Yeah,
you're getting out of this Alawi system.
a system.
You don't know if
That's
you're
why
glad the
after
job
you
soon.
service, some
Yeah.
desire this kind of alawi should come again because they didn't plan. If I was so disturbing that some people were borrowing money to travel to finance their travel back home and all that. So you must understand that this is a time for you to save money.
Yeah.
If people always have this excuse that I don't have enough to even save, then you never have enough to save. So it's a
I want to
starting
say
point.
something.
Yeah.
You see, for me, as a financially literate person, I've been, many financial platforms, learning, I invest in stocks, I see things. I've come to understand that there's no difference in terms of money. If you manage your money well, there's really no difference from the 19.8 they were paying and this 77,000. Because as at then, 19.8 to club members covered a lot. This 77,000 to an extent, it is yes a big huge money compared to what we've had, but though the cost of things are actually eating into
So you're
it.
speaking about the value.
Yeah.
of money.
But that's not where I'm going to. If what I'm trying to say now is if your 77,000 is well managed, you will do exploit with it, because there were lots of people who managed that 19.8 and did wonders with it.
As there were people who were able to live with 33,000.
Exactly.
So giving them 77,000
Exactly.
should leave them with some extra to do other things, savings and maybe investments. Good one. But let's look at, Femi has talked about people now spending more during impulse buying. Are there ways to creatively live within your means and still enjoy your time as a core member? Particularly if you're posted to a city like Lagos, where you feel like, wow, this is the time of my life. I must.
The center of excellence.
Because we understand that for core members, there is the youthful exuberance.
Yeah.
Just coming out of school, where you were always handed money. Your parents, for a lot of students, their parents funded their education, aside from a few who had to pay their way through school.
Yeah.
So they used to been given money for your upkeep and all that.
Just is like me now.
Free
They don't
money.
answer me anymore.
Not paying rent by yourself, not paying your bills by yourself. So now some parents to carry that over into youth service for their children and provide them with money for every other thing. So the allowance comes like free money to them, some extra to party with and to shop and play with. But Femi also pointed out that there is reality after youth service. I also saw core members during my time as a core member who, when it was 2-3 months to the end of it, were like, wow, man, how do I cope? When this money stops coming, because they've been spending. And then we had an area inspector who would, at CDS meeting, often ring it as a bell to say, whatever you're spending, have it in mind that by the time you leave here, you see those parents of yours that are giving you money. When you return home, it won't continue. Most likely, it won't continue. Whatever you are spending, make sure you're putting aside some money for which you would go for interviews. So you get the opportunity to go for an interview, but it's far away, maybe in another state. You don't need to start asking, please give me money for transportation.
It doesn't even sound sane.
So-
it doesn't sound nice.
Good enough. You're a lady, and you mentioned how much you bought your hair. So how can you still live, enjoy the city, but not at the expense of your finances? What
Okay.
advice to fellow core members like you?
Okay. First of all, I'm so lucky that I am serving close to my parents. So, and from where I'm serving in the another part of Lagos, my parents are in the mainland. I'm here on the island, so I can easily go home when it gets stuff. I go home when it gets stuff.
Aren't you a lucky girl?
I am a lucky. No, I am blessed. I am blessed because this is what I wanted. I craved for it, and God just did it. So I am blessed. So when it comes, but still in all of this, I don't still want to put the financial burden on my parents. So I manage how I save. I manage how I spend. I manage what I eat. Then I'm coming
Do you
somewhere.
buy Ashwebis?
Ashwebi.
This is also the time to, some friends will be getting married,
Actually.
some other things will be happening, and family members who know that you're not serving, 77K. Favor, you're a big girl. So there's this event, family. Do you do all of those things? Things
Okay.
that take money away from you without knowing.
Okay,
I
it has
just
not
point to
been
that.
long I started serving.
Okay.
Just few months back. So I've not
You haven't
gotten
received such
any
calls.
Yeah, I haven't started receiving such calls.
When you do, how do you intend to respond?
Okay, first of all, I have some. I do things not when I want to sew clothes or buy clothes. I do not buy for the present. I buy for something that would I can use for other occasions because I'm a socialite. I go out. I'm a social butterfly. So I try as much as possible to always look good. So when I am sewing a particular cloth or a color of a fabric, and you come and tell me come and buy my shabby, and it's the same color I have in my basket.
Maybe the same material, even.
Guy, I'm not buying.
Interesting.
I'm not buying it. I have this color. Are you taking it or not? If maybe I have to come as a bridal train, and you said no because I have to follow, your trend and everything. I will be your guest.
So you built the ability to say no when necessary.
Of course.
Good one.
This is where financial discipline comes in. I always say that there's always that temptation or the pressure to spend more. It's just about discipline. You must understand that, okay, like it's always advised, you don't do what you call impulse buying. You plan for your money. If I'm going to spend this money, why am I spending this money? What value, for what reason, and what will be the impact on my income or finance at the end of the month? But Praise, I would like you to speak to, there's something I observed during the service year.
Okay.
There are people who argue that the service year is a time to make money. Some will say it's a time to build their skills, to maximize their potential, and prepare themselves for the life after service.
Okay.
What kind of preparation do you think core members should deploy to that 1 year service in order to add value to life after service? Or how do you maximize that kind of moment?
Okay. First of all, I would say you don't prepare for life during service year. You prepare for life while in school. Because service year is just 1 year. And to be honest, it's not enough.
But the preparation should also start from there.
For people who did not prepare or prepare enough while in school.
Yeah.
For someone like me, I have been preparing from my level 100. So service is like another, and it's an upgraded platform for me. To be honest, there's nothing I'm doing during my service year that I was not doing while I was in school. You get me? So for people who maybe while away their time while in school, it's a great time. I realized that many people gain financial strength, many people expand their social circle during the service year. It's more like the scales just fall from their eyes and they're like, my time is going. My time is going. So you see ladies in their service year, they're in their 23. Oh, I'm still going to get married. I've not done this. Then everybody's starting, to fix one or two things. So I would say your service year is actually a great time to maximize opportunities. Then I want to say something about workspace, making money and all that. If you find yourself as a core member in a firm, because the truth is, there's no way you as a core member will be doing well and a firm will not want to have you.
To retain you.
Yeah, to retain you. That's the right word. You get. So whatever you are doing during your service year, if you're posted to maybe a school, a media house, a hospital, or wherever, it should be that at the end of your service year, it is you who's deciding that, oh, I do not want to stay here. I want to go. Not that your conduct makes them to feel like, oh, we don't want this person. Because the truth is, there's unemployment out there waiting for you. The chances of you getting a job is dicey. So you must maximize that opportunity. So I really do. When I see people telling me after my service year, I want to prepare to go and get a job, I'm like,
what if they had one uncle or aunt that assured them that don't worry, just send your CV, and they're like, I don't want to be here. In fact, this is not where I should be. So because I already have assurance. What if they have kind of assurance?
Different strokes for different folks. It's a lot. What they call it? that you have those privileges does not mean another person doesn't have a privilege. There's a proverb, there's a pidgin proverb. They say, sorry, I'm going to be using.
Use it, of course.
Okay,
It's-
good.
It's a Nigerian language. Why
They
not?
said, Pikin way they feed himself, suppose guess, but we no get sponsor, suppose get sense. You get me? So if you know that you do not have
Sponsor someone.
this privileges of one uncle like me, I don't have, so bad. I got.
Let's come to the issue of place of primary assignment.
Okay.
There was a time where people were posted based on what they studied, their discipline. And at the time, there came a president, talking about former President Goodluck Jonathan, who felt like you see a graduate from a Nigerian university, and sometimes you're wondering, did this person actually go through the 4 walls of an institution? Didn't sound like people who are educated. They can't even defend your course of study. So let's post them to schools to become teachers in the space of the 1 year, so they can prove to us that, of course, they really went to school. And so we found that a lot of core members at that time were being posted to schools to become teachers. So what's the posting like at this time? Should it be any different? Should we get to that time when it's based on your discipline? If you studied mass communication, for example, so at posting, naturally, you should be posted to a media house. So you get that experience with the industry before you get into the labor market, or anywhere. What's your take?
Okay.
How's it now, and what do you think
What I
it should be?
Okay. This particular question, we've said it as in within my folks, my friends. We've said it. Me, even while I'm alone, I think about like, why can't people just post people to what they studied in school? I really do not think that making coppers, teachers, some of them are not even trained.
For teaching.
Yes. Some of them do not even have the certification. They don't even know what classroom maintenance looks like. So isn't it better if we take this, if people are being designated to their profession? But to an extent, I think this should be based on, sometimes they should just call us, and ask us.
So how many core members? How many core members
You
would
know,
you be able to cover?
you know the challenge here.
What do you really want?
Let me set this narrative. The challenge here is, if you look at the number of core members that are being churned out every year, you'll be
There are
amazed,
thousands.
thousands. The challenge here is the disparity between the number of core members and their available opportunities.
Is it
And
really
so-
available?
No,
I think they are
the point is,
random.
you have more core members, For instance, in a place like Lagos now, where every young person, there's always that desire to go
Wants
to
to come
Lagos,
to.
because of the
Okay.
opportunities in Lagos.
Okay.
But you also realize that it gives room to a situation where the infrastructure or the opportunities in Lagos are overstretched. So the challenge here is for someone who is an engineer, placing him in the right factory in a village where there is no factory. So you see, that's a disparity. So what they do, like a makeshift, is to ensure that, okay, for you not to just be idle for 1 year, let's post you. That was what happened to me. I was posted to a
That
school.
was.
But I also
You know what?
created
You
another
became a
opportunity for
teacher.
myself. I had to teach. But
You had to teach subjects that were needed.
I also had to approach a TV station and say, because I knew right from 200 level that this
You
would be
wanted to
my
be a
path,
broadcaster.
So I had to join OBS when I got to camp, and then did some other things. But I was posted to a school. That's the story. I was teaching at the point. I was also by the side, doing one thing, freelancing
Because
for
you
a TV
knew
station.
what you wanted.
So what I'm trying to say is also important that you have what we call sense of purpose or direction during
Yes,
your service here. You know what you want to achieve, so that even after service, you're not looking for a job. Even if you're going to look for a job, you have sense of direction. You know what to do. So most of the time, I think is what NYSC and the federal government needs to improve on, to see how the potential of people or the skills can be maximized. If someone is trained for engineering, the expertise of that person is needed in engineering, should be deployed to at least a manufacturing sector or a company where that expertise will be needed. For someone who's a medical doctor, you have nothing to do with a secondary school or
No,
teaching.
I think there are those
Yeah,
the doctors are
the
somewhat
professional-
Yeah,
exempted.
yeah.
Doctors,
lawyers.
they're
Nurses,
exempted. They actually take them to
those who-
their area of
pharmacy and the
expertise.
rest of
You
them.
know,
That's it.
why should the doctors, the student doctors, be taking an area of expertise
Because
at other places?
they are seen like this person's would be more their presence would be more beneficial in the hospital. They're in short supply
Essential
even.
services.
So you where the hospitals are needing doctors, you can take them to the schools to be teaching biology. So that's maybe part of the reason. But I get what you want to say, that it should be the same
It should be
for
fair.
other disciplines.
Which is part of the argument. There are those who are arguing that NYC should be scrapped. Some are saying it should be rejigged in a way that it will accommodate the present reality. For me, I don't think it should be scrapped. But I think there are certain things that need to be improved on, which has to do with placing people in their place of assignment where they need to serve. Those are things that can be reworked in a way. In fact, I'm looking for a time that once you're enlisted in that scheme, after that scheme, you're not looking for a job. It means automatic employment for you, whether automatic employment or empowerment. So there are those who are arguing that, okay, the 1 year service should be a time to empower these graduates so that by the time they are done with the youth service, they are creating jobs, not just looking for a job. And for those who are going to look for a job, maybe they must have been attached to one organization before the end of their service year. And back to what she said, for core members as well, if you're serving in a place, ensure you add value to that place so that you can be retained.
Because even
it's your pride.
the uncle or aunt that assured you that, hey, send your CV, might just be scammed.
The bigger one
By the
might
time
not
you
be
get
big
out,
as
you
you
just
assume.
might
Yeah.
get the biggest shock of your life.
Yeah,
As
that's
it
true.
becomes what we call in local parlance posting. They post you, I post you, I post you. Until you learn the hard way that, hey,
So-
that was just a false hope.
That's why some people desire now the Alawi they were getting, and they're still getting it now because they now realize that, oh, they should have taken advantage
Some
of.
persons wish they can work at here right now and earn 7K monthly. But I'm going to ask you finally from me, what's been the experience of NYC for you so far? I know you're just a few months into
Yeah.
it. Part of the reason the NYC scheme was created was to foster national unity so that Nigerians who grew up in a particular region can experience life in other regions, be exposed to other cultures, to improve the tolerance that we have for one another, knowing that we have diverse culture. What's been your experience like meeting people from other states, other culture and background?
Okay, firstly, meeting people started from camp. I served in started from camp. So, meeting different people. I schooled in Benin City. That was another world on its own. Then I came down to, Lagos camp and all. So, lots of people from the north, sleeping in the same bunk bed and all. So, we dine together, we eat together, we have a social night together. It was fun. It was fun, actually. I can remember seeing an Akwa Ibom girl, the way she speaks, I was just staring at her like this. I was like, is this how you talk? These things, you won't see them in Benin. You won't see them in Benin. Even if you see them, 1 or 2 or 3, but you have them. And funny enough, when they see their people, they just form a clique. And be like, oh, now so then they form their
Same way if you have seen your own people.
yeah, together. So then, now serving in Lagos, where I'm working, it's really doing a lot. I've left my parents' house, fending for myself. I'm being able to stretch. I'm able to stretch. I think another thing NYSC does is to take you out of your comfort zone, put you into the
Exposure
real
to other
world,
culture, yeah.
and you work like, I must say, my work life exposure has changed. While I was in school, I interned for a few media firms and all, but it was not so professional. They were still like pampering me. This one is a student, so just take it easy. But then I came into a firm and then I had to wake up early. I had to be like a staff.
So you're learning real life.
To be having fun. And I'm wondering, your zonal inspector or your state coordinator should be proud of you.
You and say you're representing
I don't
well.
know about any other core member out there, but for me, This 2 months has been amazing.
Hopefully, maybe before the end of the service here, the right man walks in. You could become couple.
Becoming
The
down.
NYSC couple. Let me find out. You know, there's this arrangement
Yeah.
when you have people who are married doing their NYC, where NYC will sponsor their wedding. Do they still do that?
I've not heard of that, but I know of people
There
finding
used to be
love.
something
I
like
think
that.
that still happens
Yeah.
when their core members may be serving in the same locality, so they just support them. And many persons can still trace when they met their spouse to NYC, you know,
So there's
because
more to
they,
NYC.
they couldn't have
there's
met
more to
if not
NYSC.
for NYC because
Oh
the
my.
pool of
Yeah,
people
meeting
and
people.
even
You see why this shouldn't be scrapped now?
tend
You
to be
shouldn't.
more
Please, I'm
during
still enjoying
service,
myself. Please
during
don't.
camp.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Praise Nguzi,
Thank
for
you.
being on Early Exchange with us today,
you.
talking
My
about the
pleasure.
National Youth Service Corps, which is a mandatory 1 year scheme for every graduate in Nigeria. You must participate in that before you get into the labor market, except where there are reasons for exemption. And so far, from what Praise has said, it's been a worthwhile experience. We've had just a few months into it, and she's happy that the scheme hasn't been scrapped. She's also advised core members who are rejoicing, hey, 77K, oh yeah, hit the market. She's saying to you, know that after hitting the market, life may just be, real life may just be waiting for you after your 1 year service, and all of the money with which you hit the market, you may be needing them. So be wise. What they say is enough for the wise. And I trust that you watching Ed Exchange today has made you wiser and also made some people wise. I'm Blessing AG. Thank you so much for being a part of Ed Exchange all through the week by watching, by sharing your comments, sharing the page, just sharing the content to other people so they can benefit from it. Let's do this again Monday, 8 a.m. West African time. Yeah, thank God it's Friday, so you're free after today, after work, after business, to go do some Owambe. I hope you haven't bought Asheville on credit or like you didn't pay them. They will come knocking at your door, but be sure to enjoy yourself. Catch the needed rest for next week. I'm Blessing AJ. Bye.
All right, the reality is the NYC scheme has come to stay, so it shouldn't be scrapped. Yes, we agree with that. All we just need to do is to see how we can improve the templates to ensure that it is reflecting the present reality and is making our graduates better. Don't forget, it's Friday, so you need to have fun. Early Exchange will return on Monday, bigger and better. And don't forget, Market Insight comes up at 11. And we'll always have a time to have another conversation. This is our offering for today and a way to set the tone for the weekend. Thanks for watching. I am Femi Ayodele. We'll see you next week.
Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.